All right, for those of you guys who went to the assembly, or for those of you guys who would like to have some extra review, 3.5 was on absolute value. And the first ones that we were going to do is basically we're going to solve for x. Okay, so the first one we did was 3x plus 4 is equal to 10. So the absolute value of 3x plus 4 is equal to 10. I have my function. My function is the absolute value, and it's all by itself. So I'm going to undo my function. Now, when I do that, we will have two cases. We have 3x plus 4 is equal to negative 10. And then we're going to have 3x plus 4 is equal to positive 10. Because remember, absolute value, it goes to the left and it goes to the right. Okay, so here I'm just going to solve for x. And I'm going to subtract 4 everywhere. So I get 3x is equal to negative 14. And here I get 3x is equal to 6. Now I'm going to divide by 3 everywhere. And here I get x is equal to negative 14 divided by 3. And here I get x is equal to 2. Okay, that's how we solve for x. All right, now let's do another problem. This time, again, we're still going to solve for x, but it's 2 times the absolute value of 2x minus 1 plus 3 is equal to 13. Now I'm going to go to another color. And notice here that, I meant to go to another color, silly goose. Okay, so notice here that I have a coefficient and I am adding. And so therefore, the function is not by itself. So I ask you, how do you get the function by itself? Well, the first thing we're going to do is subtract 3. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. And I get 2 times the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is equal to 10. All right, now hopefully you realize that once again the function is not by itself, and so we need to divide by 2. Now, a common mistake is to distribute the 2, and you can't do that. And so off to the side, if I had 2 times 2x minus 1 quantity squared, you wouldn't distribute the 2, right? If you have 2 times the square root of 2x minus 1, you wouldn't distribute the 2. Do not distribute the 2. You will not get the problem correct. So let's divide both sides by 2. And so I get the function 2x minus 1, the absolute value of 2x minus 1 is equal to 5. Okay, so now my function is by itself. And so when the function is by itself, we want to know how to undo it, how to unpack it. All right, and the way we do it for absolute value is we go to the left and then we go to the right. So to go to the left, that would be 2x minus 1 is equal to negative 5. And then to go to the right would be 2x, oops, silly goose. Nope. Okay, it's been a while since I've done videos. I'm trying to deselect the minus sign. Minus 1 is equal to positive 5. Okay, so now I'm going to add 1 because now my goal is to get x by itself. So I have 2x is equal to negative 4. And here I have 2x is equal to 6. Now I'm going to divide by 2. And I get x is equal to negative 2, x is equal to 3. All right, that's how we do it when we have a coefficient and we're adding or subtracting. All right, what if we were to have an absolute value equal, go away, to an absolute value? Okay. I hate this. All right. So Again, do you see that the functions are by itself? And I think for these, most of the time they will be. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do case 2. I'm going to unpack it. That's easy. So that's going to be x plus 5 is equal to x plus 1. That one's easy. So that's to the right. Now I'm going to go to the left. And so it's going to be x plus 5. And remember, it has to be the negative of the whole right-hand side. If I just write down negative, it would just be negative x. And so it has to be the opposite of x plus 1. Positive, negative. All right. So I get x plus 5 is equal to negative x minus 1. And here I get x plus 5 is equal to x plus 1, because it's positive. All right, and so I like to have positive x's. So over here I'm going to add x to both sides. And so I get 2x plus 5 is equal to negative 1. I'm going to solve one side by itself. Subtract 5 from both sides. So I get 2x is equal to negative 6. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x is equal to negative 3. All right, so now let's come over to here, and I'm just going to subtract x from both sides. And then I get 5 is equal to 0x plus 1, which is that 5 is equal to 1, right? Is that a true statement? No. So there's no solution here. And that will happen sometime. So this particular absolute value problem only has one solution. It's negative 3. All right? Okay, so now let's go do an inequality, and so that means we're not dealing with equal signs anymore. We're dealing with greater than and less than, okay? And typically when we're doing that, graphing is involved. Okay, so it's going to be solve the inequality. Okay, I don't like this. I don't know if you can see that bar coming down. It makes me mad. Okay, let's start off with something easy. What if I was to have the absolute value of x is greater than 5? Okay? Well, hopefully you realize that both 5 and negative 5 are my key numbers here, because this is absolute value. And because there is no bar there, it's going to be open circles. All right, so let's try positive numbers first. And so I know that 6 is greater than 5, 7 is greater than 5, 8 is greater than 5, and that's all in here, okay? Now let's try numbers in between negative 5 and 5, like 0. 0, that's not greater than 5, and 1's not greater than 5. And even if I put in x equals negative 2, I get 2. 2 is not greater than 5. So I do not shade between negative 5 and positive 5. All right, so now let's try to the left. So let's try negative 6. The absolute value of negative 6 is 6. That is greater than 5. How about negative 10? The absolute value of negative 10 is 10. That is greater than 5. So I'm going to shade here, okay? All right, so let's do a problem here. What if I was to have the absolute value of 4x plus 8 is greater than 40? All right, do you see that the function is by itself? Those rules still exist, just like they do if this was an equal problem. All right, so I'm going to unpack it. Well, the positive one is always the easiest. That remains the same. All right, it's the left-hand side, the negative. And remember that whenever we multiply a negative number, what happens to the inequality? It flips. So this is going to be 4x plus 8 is less than negative 40. Because whenever you multiply by a negative number, it flips. All right, so the rules are the same. Subtract 8 everywhere, okay? So I get 4x is less than negative 48. I get 4x is greater than 32. Divide by 4. And I get x is less than negative 12, and I get x is greater than 8. Okay, and I should have said solving graph, silly me. All right, so here is my number line. And again, as long as you have me for a teacher, I just want you to write down the key numbers. Both of these are open circles because there's no bars. I have x is greater than, and I have x is less than. All right? Easy smeezy. Okay, these are called ors because we have wings. Because it's this or that. Okay, let's go to another one. Okay, what if I was to have 2n plus 1 is less than 17? Again, my function is by itself, so I'm going to unpack it. To the left, which is going to be negative, I'm going to switch the sign and multiply the number to the right of the sign by negative 1. Here, I'm just going to write 2n plus 1 exactly as I see it. So I subtract 1 everywhere. I get 2n is greater than negative 18. Here I get 2n is less than 16. Divide by 2. And I get n is greater than negative 9. And here I get n is less than 8. Okay, so let's go plop my number line here. Okay, now they said n is greater than negative 9. And here they said n is less than 8. All right, and so this is what we call an and problem. And so we are going to shade what's in the middle. What's in the middle. Now let me explain that. Let me go to another color because I'm going to be writing on here. So let's pick 10. 10 is a nice number, all right? That satisfies n is greater than negative 9, right? Because 10 is greater than negative 9. So let's go in here. 2 times 10 plus 1 gives me 21. Is the absolute value of 21 is 21. Is 21 less than 17? And the answer is no. 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 That is why the answer has to be between negative 9 and 8. All right. All right. If you have any questions, come in for tutoring tomorrow.